Welcome to Theatre Royal Stratford East and the second year of the Offies. I'm so glad that you could all make it through the Arctic conditions. Some presenters didn't. Some winners may not have either, so we'll just make it up as we go along, I think. Can all the nominees and sponsors make absolutely sure that they're in the stalls so that when their category is announced, they can come up the stairs, courtesy of David Byrne? And can everyone make sure that your mobile phones are switched off? Now, I am Sofie Mason. I'm the director and founder of offwestend.com, and Diana Jarvis-Reid is my greatest advisor and consigliere. We are delighted to hold our second award ceremony here in the epic shadow of the great Joan Littlewood, one of the biggest personalities the theatre has ever known. Admittedly, celebrity didn't matter to her, but she has long been acknowledged, with Peter Brook, whom she despised, as the most galvanising director of 20th century Britain. Her great causes, community, political theatre, improvisation, working class language, have passed into the mainstream of drama, and her record remains unsurpassed. She said, when old, "I really do believe in the community, I really do believe in the genius in every person, and I've heard that greatness come out of them, that great thing which is in people." And her tradition has been carried on with the groundbreaking work by Philip Headley, who should be here tonight, and Kerry Michael, who sadly couldn't make it. And we're so grateful to be here to celebrate that genius in every person here today. I would also like to thank, and there are going to be lots of thank yous, but I would also like to thank Ali Fellows, Carl McPherson, Chris Murray, and all the Theatre Royal team for making us so welcome. I'd like to thank actor and playwright Pericles Snowdon for reading the citations tonight, as well as Tom Wicker, Joe Sutherland, and Susie Safavi for tweeting, Facebooking, and PRing us all over the blogosphere, as they still are doing, I think. Of course, none of this could have been possible without our hard-working panel of critics for their enthusiasm and guidance, our celebrity presenters for ploughing their way through the snow to get here today, and our indefatigable army of assessors who have truffled all over London, brilliantly organised by Sebastian Rex and Carol Mulholland. So huge thanks. Huge thanks as well to our team of volunteers, marshalled by the magnificent Anne Clifford, who are now half demented after stuffing 450 goodie bags for you in the foyer all over the place since crack of dawn. And I'd like to thank the wonderful designer Anthony Morgan in the wings, the cinematic Terry Chisholm somewhere, and the charismatic Lynn Hanley, as well as John Plews for returning as stage manager, despite the complete lack of respect or understanding that I showed him last year. Don't know why that got an applause. Sorry, John. I always say that when you have no money, the only currency is goodwill. Well, by God, the amount of goodwill in this room is massive, in this industry is massive, and in this common cause of promoting independent theatres, which is what we're all about. So thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. And I would like to thank our sponsors today as well, without whose financial support and gifts in kind, we would definitely be in the cafe across the road, or Pizza Express, or something like that. So special thanks, particularly to Torres Wine for providing the bubbles, and for Maid for sponsoring the reception, which has been good. Torres are the gorgeous #1 wine producers in Spain, and Maid are a tourism and marketing agency for the arts, who you may need in this Olympic year if you want to woo international and domestic tourists. So look out as well, finally, for the Fringe and Off West End audience report that can be downloaded today. And the reason this is interesting, sounds a bit boring, but it's not at all, is that for years... That wasn't scripted. Note to self, never go off script. Anyway, for years, surveys have been commissioned in the West End about how audiences behave. Well, probably for the first time ever, we have an equivalent survey for focusing on our audiences, so do download it from the Off West End website and have a look. And hurrah to them, and hurrah and thank you to all our sponsors. And now we're going to get the party started by giving a rousing welcome to our host this afternoon, the gorgeous Louise Jameson, heroically stepping in for Simon Callow.
Well, I'm a rabbit in the headlights. Asked to step into the huge and revered shoes of Simon Callow, I wasn't quite sure where to start. So I thought what I'd do is quote some of his absolutely brilliant article from the stage last week. The Off-West End is an independent realm of the imagination, a place where money is not the sine qua non of quality, where things that have not yet entered the mainstream consciousness can be aired and kicked about, where the art that dare not speak its name is given house room, where youth can flex its muscles, where age can throw caution to the winds, where you can encounter a shocking degree of intimacy. I love that phrase. A shocking degree of intimacy in the performance, where you sacrifice comfort, ain't that the truth, for a life-changing experience. Now, I know fringe is a disputed term, but nonetheless, I looked it up. And this was the definition: ornamental edge of hanging threads and tassels. I thought maybe I could come on covered in tassels, but someone with better taste than me dissuaded me. Edge. Adorn with, serve as, all interesting words when applied to forms of theatre. Haircut and falling over the brow, well, I can supply that. But here comes the crux. Fringe of theatre, unofficial, unconventional, extra. Unofficial, outside the law. The first gay kiss, the first full frontal nudity, the powers of actors protesting about Section 28, burlesque, the underground movement in Germany during World War II, Stephen Lawrence's murderers brought to justice, finally, in no small part thanks to Nick Kent, the Tricycle, and their brave verbatim plays. Please God they have the same success with One Tumino Bay. Unconventional. In my heyday, starting on the Fringe, Hair and O Calcutta, more recently Jerry Springer the Opera, starting at BAC. Last year, award-winning The Animals and the Children Took to the Streets, also at BAC. Reverence was a brilliant promenade production at Southwark Playhouse. This year, The House of Bernardo Alba in Iranian, plus puppets at the new Diorama. I could go on. My next show, this is a shameless plug here, is going to get its start on the Fringe, and it opens with me sitting on a lavatory one side of the stage and my gay best friend, which is also the title of the piece, masturbating in a closet on the other. Not my most glamorous moment, perhaps, but you know, as Simon Callow says, this is where age can throw caution to the wind. And finally, extra. This word covers a whole army of shows, attitudes, talents. Extra meaning more than the usual, more than the predictable. And because more is expected, more is delivered. And the people involved in Off-West End become more. From the sponsors to the performers to the people stuffing envelopes and sending out emails. More, more, more. And it keeps coming like a huge, unstoppable waterfall. A force of creativity, beauty, politics, anger, grief, pathos, and hilarity. Also, whilst cobbling these few words together, I was delighted and rather ashamedly surprised to realise that so many women have been involved in the Fringe Off-West End masterful ideas, or should we say mistressful? I mean, the theatre is, after all, part brothel, part cathedral. From one of the tiniest off-West End spaces, such as the Rosemary Branch Theatre, run by Keo Silvestre and Cecilia Darker, to the indomitable Joan Littlewood, who I mention with huge respect as her spirit will undoubtedly be sitting amongst you this afternoon. And in the same breath, and I know they will squirm with embarrassment, the adorable Sofie Mason and her right-hand woman, Diana Jarvis-Reed, who are responsible for all this and much, much more. I am proud to be a patron, proud to be asked to step in at the last minute, proud to know Sofie Mason, and proud beyond description to be in front of you all this afternoon to present the 2012 Office Awards. Let's go. We are going to start with the panel awards. The presenters will be coming on stage from my right and will be followed by the winners and the sponsors to wild applause and the traditional surge of cheesy music.